So I recently met Kate. Kate started her business with a big vision to really help mothers out there get high quality baby clothing for their kids. And so she created all of these products and got them warehoused in a huge warehouse, paying for the inventory, and started her online store and moved to the country where she actually really wanted to live. Now, unfortunately, 8 months in, her stock is not really moving and she's paying a lot of money just purely for the warehouse to store her inventory. Now, in the meantime, her husband actually had to go back to the corporate world, so he had to move back to the city, and he only gets to see the family like once in a while, I think once in a couple of months. Now, the thing is that this is not an unusual story, and unfortunately, it is a true story. So if anything from this story applies to you, make sure you stick around, because we will talk about 3 strategies how to get consistent sales overnight. Hi, my name is Silvia. I'm one of the co-founders of the Traffic Ninjas. Together with my husband, Kristen, we worked with over 500 brands in more than 35 different countries. And so what we learned over the years is what is it that works for small businesses with limited resources as opposed to big businesses with big resources and big budgets. And often these two are completely different. So in this channel, we discuss all of those untapped strategies that work for businesses such as yours. So make sure you do subscribe to this channel and you hit the bell notification button so that you don't miss out. All right, so 3 strategies to get those consistent sales overnight. Number 1, we'll talk about your customer and who is essentially that person who is ready to buy. Number 2, we will talk about different what we call traffic sources and how to attract this ideal customer to come to your store. And number 3, we will discuss your competitors. If you implement these 3 things, essentially you will be well equipped to start getting those consistent sales to your store overnight. So let's talk about Kate just for a little bit longer, because it's not like she hasn't tried hard. She was actually trying really hard. But unfortunately, she was working on the wrong stuff. She invested a lot of her money into branding courses, into photo shoots. But one of the things she was really missing was that strategy of, okay, how do I get that customer to my store, that person who is essentially ready to purchase, and how do I get them to purchase after that? Investing into branding and photo shoot is all well and good, and it's always important, but guys, that alone is not gonna make a sale. Which brings me to point number 1. When we talk about your customer and that person who is ready to buy, you've got to understand why is it that they need your product, and ideally, you want to always describe that on your product pages. Why is it that they need your product? What is it that makes you different? And also that customer always needs to see themselves through your website and on your product pages. If you fail to do that, then they're just going to look at your product as a commodity. Now, what happens once customers look at your product as a commodity? When they see that as a commodity, then it's just a piece of garment. It's just a thing. It's just something that they can go to Amazon, look up, and purchase from there. So your job as a business owner is to really make sure that the customer, who is your ideal customer, understands why is it that they need to buy this product, what is it going to do for them, and what makes you different, why is it that they need to buy it from you. And just a tip, saying like, hey, buy from me because we've got great customer service, guys, it's not gonna cut it, okay? You need to be a little bit more specific than that. Really describe in detail the problem you had which brought you to create your own product. Describe in detail the passion you've got for your product, for your customers. Describe in detail the transformation you see that your products make in your customer's life. Like all of that is gonna draw customers in. And instead of just selling a commodity, you're gonna be selling that emotion. And that emotion is what's gonna get your customer to essentially cross that line, going from I never heard of from you before to somebody like, oh, I like this brand, to actually being a paid customer who gave your product a go. Okay, so now that you've done that, second thing is you've got to attract the right customer to come to your store. Now, the thing is that people often misunderstand what traffic is, what visitors are, right? Because traffic, when you see that on your analytics, those are really people, those are their eyes on your product. And you've got to make sure that it's the right customer who is looking at your product, that it's not just like a random person or a school kid like doing a research project and just looking at what you've got. No, you've got to be sure that it's the right type of customer coming to your store, because otherwise you're going to have all of this traffic and there is not going to be any sales. So How are you going to do that? First of all, you've got to understand that we've got two types of traffic. We've got what we call interruption traffic, and we've got what we call search traffic. Now, interruption traffic is when we target people on social media. Why is that? Because when they go to social media, then typically a user, just like you and I'll go to social media because I've got 10 minutes, breaks between appointments, whatever, and I'm scrolling on Facebook, looking at whatever everybody else is doing. Or like I'm flicking through TikTok. Now, those two and even Instagram would be social media platforms where when you're scrolling, your post or your ad is shown in their feed. We call this interruption marketing because it's interrupting people from whatever they're doing. Now, when it comes to interruption marketing, a lot has changed in the past few years. So if you were doing Facebook ads in 2020 or 2021, like now 2 years later, it's completely different. So the thing that I want you to understand is that a lot has changed in social media marketing and a lot has changed in interruption marketing. And also the saturation, the amount of ads people are getting in their feeds has just dramatically increased. So whilst interruption marketing still works, you're just gonna be mindful that there is so much more competition out there and the prices have increased by tenfold in the last 2 to 3 years. So one of the things that you can do for interruption marketing is really be clear once again, in your messaging, in your creative, in your videos, in your images as to who the ideal customer is. You want to be calling them out. You want them to see themselves in that imagery, in those videos. You want to be able to directly connect with the problem that they might be having and your product might be solving. So that's extremely important in interruption marketing. And honestly, if you just implement that in your social media posts and in your ads, like already, your sales can go through the roof overnight. Now, the other thing I want you guys to understand about traffic, we talked about interruption, is search traffic. So what is search traffic? So search traffic is essentially people who have a need for your product. They're looking for you, they're hot, and they're looking for you either on Google or on Pinterest or on the other of those search platforms. The amazing thing about this is customers who are essentially searching for a product, guys, they're hot, like they're ready to go. And for small businesses, the advantage is also that if a big company is advertising a similar product to yours on social media, typically what users do is after that they go and start searching for the same product on Google because they are looking for comparisons. So if you can be there in front of their eyes as they are ready and searching and comparing, then boom, you get those sales straight away. Now, some of you are like, hey Silvia, but like getting in front of customers on Google, like isn't that crazy complicated? Doesn't it take like crazy long time? Guys, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. It used to in the past, and there is this misconception that you need like an agency and pay them thousands of dollars to do that, but you really don't have to do that. Essentially, some of our students who work on search traffic can start seeing results literally as fast as in a couple of days. I'm not saying that overnight, like your store is gonna get tens of thousands of visitors from zero. No, obviously, the more work you do, the more benefit you're gonna get back. However, what we have seen is that you can start seeing results literally as fast as few days. The other reason why you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of search traffic is because, believe it or not, but over 95% of all of that traffic is untapped. And it's purely untapped because of two main reasons. One, people think, or small business owners think, that it's just so difficult that they're not going to do that. So straight away, like they put themselves outside of the competitors. And second, big businesses essentially are not interested in all of that search traffic that's out there, because some of the search traffic, some of the searches for really hot products, those hot searches, big businesses are not interested because it can be too small for them. And think about this as leftovers from big businesses. And big businesses like leave so much on the table because it would take them like more work to grab those like crumbles. But those crumbles, guys, are thousands and hundreds of thousands of searches left for us for small business owners. So me personally, I do think that search traffic is one of the like really best kept secrets out there. Literally like over 95% of that is untapped. And if you're ever interested in explore that topic more, we've got plenty of videos on how to do that. Okay, so we talked about the customer, we talked about traffic and those two types of traffic and what works best for each. But let's also talk about your competitors. One of the things I need you guys to really understand is that you are not competing with the big business that you think you're competing with. So many small business owners say, like, when I ask them, like, hey, who's your competitor? They start naming all of these big brands, and then they like want to model what these big brands do. But remember, guys, that the big brands are investing so much money into all kinds of advertisement you can even imagine. So modeling something that a big business is doing is not really going to work for your small business. So what you want to do instead, and I always encourage all of our students to do that, is create a list of 10 to 15 competitors who are really your direct competitors, but they're not big businesses. So really dig through there, like what companies out there are just a few years ahead of you but are not big business, that are selling similar products to yours, and then really start having a look at what is it that they are doing, because chances are that if you model a lot of what they're doing, you're gonna see far greater success than trying to compete with a big business that has a completely different budget, completely different strategy, completely different like position on the market, and understanding who their customer is and who your customer is. Typically, big businesses go really broad after their customers because they don't have to really specify and niche down the same way as small businesses do. The more small businesses niche down, which brings us back to point one, the more success we see, the higher conversion rates we see in their stores. So there you have it, 3 strategies to get consistent sales for your store overnight. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let us know, comment below which one of these strategies did you like the most, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.